If FinCEN comes back in Texas where we're doing it more, then they want to make sure that it's in the contract that, hey, you have to provide that information if you have it. That's all they're saying. FinCEN is if a buyer is from another country, yeah, and they're trying to buy some land with cash or LLC or specific, requirements on it, and they had to do all these programs, they had to pay, there was a fee, it's like $100 and something that they would charge the buyer, and they would put them through this database to see who they are, whether, that's what they did in administration. Well, the judge blocked it, so right now they're not doing that. Now, there are some cases where we've had FinCEN since the 80s. So we still have it. It's just that we were a lot more stricter on it. The Texas government was making us do it, actually the whole United States, but the judge blocked it in Texas for a little bit. So I don't know much about it. I mean, I know what it is, but I'm saying I don't get into the politics of it. All right, this is paragraph 21. All they did is take away, see the bottom part there, and they simplified. Now I'm going to tell y'all right now, I was really sad because I am a faxing son of a gun. I'm joking. I'm joking. They took away fax. I was a little depressed, but anyway, they I know. So it's just simple. Look, you got the buyers, you got the sellers. It's a little bit more simplified and a little more clear. That's all they did there. Okay. Now let's keep going. All right. Now look here. Now I don't want to make you dizzy, but look, this is the old one. Y'all remember this, right? Here's the way it looks now. You got your this is in paragraph 22. You've got your financial section, your lease section, your additional tests and reports, your statutory disclosure notices, and then your other. Now I want to make note of something real quick. You see these right here? They wrote this little thing in there for this section. Seller's failure to provide applicable statutory disclosures and notices may provide the buyer with remedies and rights to terminate the contract. Y'all know that the MUD, if you're paying a water district on a form, I've told y'all before in classes that you have to deliver that prior to execution. It's in the contract. I can show you the paragraph. All statutory disclosures have to be delivered prior to execution. So if you don't deliver the MUD disclosure, if there's a MUD tax and you give it to them after execution, you just gave the buyer an out for the remainder of the contract. Don't know that? So please make sure if it's a statutory disclosure notice that you provide these things prior to execution. Okay? Okay. Any questions about that's just the list.
How can you find out if your listing is in a MUD?
Man, that's a great question. So I'll tell you, if it's in a MUD, PID, POD, y'all have all these different, acronyms. First of all, you go to the CAD and they're going to disclose that they're paying taxes. Now there are some voluntary ones out there and some that don't, like they just say, oh, well, we have it, but it's $35 or whatever, but we don't really put it through the county because it's kind of voluntary. You might not know that, but your seller should know.
So in the recap, it will say MUD.
Well, it don't say MUD. It says like the water district notice. I'd have to pull one up and show you, but if there's you never seen one. There's a lot out there.
I have one from Cole now, and I wouldn't even know where to look at MUD or.
It's wherever the charges are for the county, state, the school tax, all the taxes. It's going to be right there. Wherever they're charging for the taxes, and it shows you the tax rate, your tax rate. They're charging you for, usually you get charged for school. You got county. Those are the two main ones. Sometimes you have like USD, like fire departments and some stuff they'll charge. Yeah, River Authority. But if they're charging you tax for your water, it should be stated in there. That's how you're going to know.
River Authority does not pertain to this.
No.
So they don't have a website we can go and check.
They do. TCEQ. TCEQ. You go to that website, it's going to tell you. You plug in the address, you go right to it, and it'll tell you what kind of water they're getting if they're paying. All right, this is the broker information. All they did was simplify it. I don't need to kind of go over that. Y'all know this is that back of the page of the contract that you got to fill out all your information. This is the old one. You see the old one? Now you've got the new one. It's more simplified. Okay. Now I'm just going to bring up one thing right here. You remember this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gone. No more.
Good.
Because why is that gone? Because we don't have 2401, 2402. Because this was only gonna be in a separate written agreement from that the seller was gonna pay both sides. The seller is still paying both sides. You know, I get it, but we're not putting it on the listing agreement no more. Well, hey, Mr. Seller, we're gonna charge you 6% and we're gonna pay 3% and pay the other agent. That's no longer there.
That's gonna be negotiated. in the contract.
That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely. Okay. I got about 10 minutes. I'm almost done. All right, so let me go through. Is there any questions on the 1 to 4?
I have one.
Did we answer your question?
I have one.
Go ahead.
So are you gonna turn in your listing agreement so the title company knows how, or when you get your DA sent over, that's when they'll know how much the
So title companies, we don't need listing agreements or buyer's representation agreements. We're gonna trust.
DA,
Huh?
your DA.
Oh, see, you need that. Absolutely.
So your broker would get that information.
Yes. And what title does, if we don't get a CDA from your broker, then we're gonna send a check to, but we're gonna call you, hey, how much are we charging? We gotta know how much to charge, because we don't wanna just assume 3% when it might be less. So we want that CDA, but we're gonna send an email that we got proof. Remember, what does each stand for in email? Evidence. So I've instructed all my escrow officers, send an email to the agent and say, how much are we charging your client? And if we don't get an email back, then we're not gonna charge them until you tell us. We can't, because we don't know how much to charge. Because if we charge too much, then we can get in a lawsuit. You see what I mean?
Right.
So we have to have either a CDA or an email from the agent stating how much we're supposed to charge your client. Have to. So if you go rogue and you're on a cruise and we can't get a hold of you, we're gonna have to call your broker. We're gonna figure something out, or we gotta get a hold of somebody. We can't throw a number in the air and just assume. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just didn't know if we sent along the listing agreement, so they have it right there in black and white.
You could, but we don't request it. But you definitely could if you want. You definitely could. But we don't really request it, because we don't try to get into that side of it. Or just, we really want the CDA, you know, and man, look, I said, I've been broke. I've sent thousands of CDAs and agents don't always do them on time. You know, they don't do them. And so title companies, we just get the number and go, okay. And if we don't get a CDA, we have to send one check to the brokerage and then let the broker pay. Right? So we hope we get that. What's the point?
Nothing.
Are you're one of those?
No, I'm fanning myself, he was fanning me too.
Oh, okay.
Put me off.
All right, so here's the deal. Who does the backup contracts? This is one of our new forms. We have the self-water disclosure, and I'm gonna hit that real quick, but it's real easy. But anybody done backup contract? Okay, the old way was, hey, the old way is me and her are we're executed. You come in and you want to make an offer on her listing, and I'm representing the buyer, and you make her a backup offer, earnest money, everything goes to title company, just like, and then as soon as this one terminates, yours kicks in immediately. Well, the problem is, she went on a cruise and it terminated while she's on a cruise, and she told you 3 days later, oh, by the way, that one terminated, so yours is in effect. You're 3 days in your option, you didn't know it. That's the way it was until now. So now we have this form that says the seller, let me show you. Who signs this? The seller only. So same scenario, me and her are on a contract. You're the seller, I'm the buyer, I back out. You have to send her this form and put a date in here, and that's going to be the new date, the new execution date of her contract, and her starts after, that's going to be the next day of that date's day one. So if you take 2 or 3 days to give it to her, she can sit back and she don't have to worry about it. I think it's cool. It's cool. I think it's cool. So if you're in a backup contract and you're the seller, you have to provide this to the backup contract because the first one backed out. Everybody got that? Pretty simple. Just make sure you do that. If you don't add this form, then that backup don't start until this one gets to it. Okay. Let me go over one more. How are y'all liking it so far?
Loving it. Good, good.
Okay, let me go over this one, and then I'm gonna tell you real quick about the water disclosure, because it's pretty simple, it really is. The only thing changed on the HOA is box 2. Now, let me just tell you, the old way was if the buyer checked box 2 and said, hey, I'm gonna get it, which is very rare, buyers don't normally do it. But let's just say the buyer gets it, they would have to send the subdivision information to the seller as receipt that they got it done within that amount of days. Well, now the buyer that's paying for it does not have to send it to the seller. They paid for it, they own it, you're not getting it. But they got to send a receipt or something showing that they got it to meet the number of days. So the buyer does not have to give it to the seller because they own it, they bought it. You don't need to give it to the seller moving forward. So if you ever check this box, just know you got to still do it the time prescribed by the contract or the addendum, but you don't have to deliver it to the seller. Everybody got that? Huh?
I kind of understood it, not quite.
Well, basically, look, I mean, we can read it if you want. The buyer shall, and they crossed out all this stuff, shall deliver a copy, see, to the but at the buyer's expense to the seller. They crossed it out. So now the buyer is deemed to receive the subdivision information on the date of the actual receipt specified in this, and let's see, if terminate contract within 3 days, buyer receives subdivision information prior to closing, whichever occurs first, but you do not have to deliver it to the seller. So they just took that out. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm just trying to tell you an easy way is the buyer still pays for it if they check that box, but you don't have to deliver it to the seller. You just got to give them within 3 days or give them a receipt that you got it, some type of proof that you got it. Look, on the date of the actual receipt that you got it. So all it is pretty simple there, and it kind of explains it more in the slideshow that I'm just kind of going over with y'all. That if that box is checked, you don't have to give it to the seller because the buyer paid for it. And what if the buyer backs out? Now the seller's got the subdivision information packet that they didn't even pay for, and the buyers are like, no, you ain't getting it. I paid for it. So they changed it. There was obviously a lawsuit case study. You know how Okay, real quick, the last one, and I promise we're done, is this one right here. Well, hang on. Go to your, y'all have, everybody got a copy of the seller's water disclosure. Seller's water disclosure notice. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something, and I sure hope Rudy don't get mad at me for telling y'all this. But you remember in the contract, we went over 7I, number 3, and it said if all are true, you don't need the form. Well, the reason why some brokers are wanting this form filled out, because let's go to the first question on paragraph 2. First question on paragraph 2. Is any portion of the property located in a groundwater district? Yes, no, unknown. If yes, identify the district and the website. Well, let me just kind of disclose it to you. You're all in a conservation district. This whole county is in a conservation district. If you go to that website and look at one of them, Bexar, Colmar, Guadalupe, everybody's in a conservation district. There's 98 conservations in Texas, and they're all over the state. So if you know that, do you think that you need to fill this out? Because the first question asks if you're in a conservation district. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burst, that. But remember I told you earlier about, there'll be a lawsuit against it, I'm sure. But here's what Brian Watts said, who's on the broker lawyer committee. But if all of the following are true, and it don't say anything about a conservation district in those, then you don't need the form.
Even though we are all in, sort of done.
You see kind of the gray area there? So again, get with Rudy. Get with Rudy. You don't need the form if all are true on 7I. But you are in a conservation district. So I am going to stick with what the lawyer said, the broker lawyer committee says, if all of the following are true, I don't need the form. That's what it says. But wait till you go to one of them websites and look. Most of San Antonio.
So what do they have to do?
I brought that up to Brian. I said, you realize that we're all in a conservation, most people are in a conservation district? And he goes, yeah, but He said, we've always been in conservation districts. He goes, but conservation districts, don't have to really, you shouldn't have to fill out this form because you're in a conservation district. They're more looking for groundwater rights, surface water rights. So I think they'll just remove that question, is what they'll do. But again, on the form, let's just kind of dig through it. I literally got 1 minute. I'm fixing to finish. Look at your definitions. Groundwater. Know what groundwater is? It's water underneath the ground. That's it. They're going to pump it out. They're going to pump it out. It's an aquifer. They're going to pump it out by a water well or something that if they're getting water underneath the ground, it's groundwater. If it's surface water, it's percolating above the ground. It's easy. It's on the surface. Rivers, ponds, maybe they're pulling water out of Canyon Lake or whatever they're doing. Like if you're surface water and you're getting water from surface water, then you have to disclose it. So just know, then you have groundwater districts, surface water rights. That's TCEQ. It even tells you, go to TCEQ. It's going to tell you everything about the property. And then water well. If you have a water well, I don't care if it's in use or not in use. I don't care if it's 50 years old. If your seller knows about it, you've got to disclose it. Okay? We don't need to go through all the questions, but y'all can look at them, and you're not going to fill it out anyway. Your seller is. Okay? Your seller is going to fill this out. I know we're right on time. I know.
You can take longer.
She's my cue. No. I really try to be respectful of y'all's time. So look, your seller's going to fill this out, but you got all the websites. It's going to help you. But remember this. I can't stress it enough. From my perspective as a teacher and what I got to tell you, on 7I, number 3, if all are true, you don't need the form. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Do you feel more confident?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that's all I got.
Yay.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can do my thing. So that'll be $500 from everyone. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much for, what'd you say? Oh, you got the tab, okay. Thank you guys for being so patient with us as we navigated the temperature and the screen and the other office. We do it. So my name is Kirsten. Bonnie does the fun part and I'm marketing and development. So I get to work with you, tools and resources for your business. So if you're looking for a title partner, even if you're not, I think you don't know what you don't know. And I tell my aides that third quarter and fourth quarter, analyze your partners. What are they doing to help you grow, especially in this market? You're seeing longer days on market for your listings. Buyers aren't listening to you, sellers aren't listening to you. So we have some really good tools to help you leverage the conversations you're having. Open house resources, listing values, a ton of great stuff. So reach out to me if you're looking for some additional support. Anything else for Ronnie? Because I gotta let him get to next.
Hey, can I just say this to y'all? I've watched your shoes a long time. I mean, yeah, y'all got a lot of choices to pick with title companies. And you never lose a deal over title company. Ever. Don't ever lose a deal over title company. So, but I will say this. How many's been to, I've said this before, but for those that I don't know, how many times you've been to a listing appointment? Has anybody not gotten a listing that they went to a listing appointment? Y'all are all that good. Wow. Well, I didn't get a bunch of them when I was young because I was learning. And there was some that I went against other realtors and I didn't get them. And it kind of is tough. I'm talking, has anybody ever been to a listing appointment where they've interviewed multiple realtors?
Yeah.
Okay, and you got them every time. That's bad. I love it. But no, really, I'm at a listing appointment with y'all right now. I realize y'all got a lot of title companies, but I really want to help you learn. I want to help you get better at your job. I want to help you build your business. I told y'all about the 501c3 company? Have I even told you? Oh, man. Are y'all
I'll
gonna?
schedule another time for it.
I got one. Hey, let me tell you something. I did 501c3 when I was a realtor, and I made tons of money. It's awesome. I gotta go. I really gotta tell you. But I'm chilling about this real quick. My wife is a school teacher. I'm gonna tell y'all the version in 30 seconds. My wife is a school teacher, and all schools have 501c3. Matter of fact, there's 10,835 right now in San Antonio. Well, I used to go to the nonprofits, the schools, and all the people. And I say, hey, look, anybody buying or selling, I'll give you a 25% back of my 3% commission to your 501c3. I'll donate. We can only give $50 in the form of a gift card to a non-licensed agent as a referral, but we're not giving a referral, we're giving a donation. I proved it with Trev, everybody. I've donated over $200,000 to 501c3s with commission money that I would have made over about a 9-year span. Schools, churches, Girl Scouts, fire departments, all booster clubs, dogs.
So they
grooming
will
companies.
refer you people and then.
No, so get an appointment with, I got the flyers, I've got the list, I've got everything you need to do it. I did it in Houston, I'm trying to, this is my favorite college. I love Rudy to death. I swear, I love Rudy. So call me and I'll help you, and I'll help you. Hey, you have my cards?
If you leave. Have some right here for him.
Hey, but help me out. Help us out. Help her. Bring the contracts and give us a chance, and I'll help you grow. What title companies go around doing this? None. None. Give me a chance to earn your business. Give us a chance. You got the unicorn of salespeople right here.
We're truly impressed.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Who are you?
Hey.
Who are you? So the escrow officer, the escrow officer would be the closer of your choice. So once we get together, I can partner you with the one that meets your business needs and meets your clients. I'd like to do a one-on-one.
Hey, they hear me okay in there in person?
To the best that they could, we had to take the lot. No, hers. Oh, no, this is
Did a
right.
great job, man. Did a great job.
Hey, Brian.
Thank you, man. Good seeing you again.